YouTube, my name is Nikki Butcher and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about first-time home buyers and some tips for them. I personally really like working with first-time home buyers because it's one of the biggest purchases someone's going to make in their entire life, most people at least, and it's the first time they're doing it. It's a really big process and one of the biggest chapters in someone's life. So I feel really honored to be a part of that, and I want to help them the best I can. The first thing that you should think about when you're looking to buy a home for the first time is how much can you afford. One way you can figure this out is by talking to a lender. They can get you pre-approved. It's a really quick process, probably like 15 minutes maybe, and that way you can see kind of what you're looking at and how much money you can spend on a home comfortably I should say. Also is saving up for a down payment. I know a lot of people can be scared by this. They think, you have to have so much money to put down on a house, but that's not always the case. If you have really good credit and if you get the right mortgage and you get the right lender, you could pay as little as 3% for first-time home buyers, which is not too bad. So if you get a $100,000 house, $3,000, that's not too bad, but that's not always the case. So you just got to think about saving up. It's not always 20% you have to put down. So yeah. Another cost associated with buying a home is closing costs. Most of the time buyers do pay closing costs, which could range around like $3,000 on like a typical home, $3,000 to $4,000 depending on the lender. So you got to think about that. Sometimes you can't get the seller to pay that, so that would be nice if you could. And then, but in this market right now, it's kind of hard to do that because this market is crazy. Other costs that you have to think about when you're buying a home is maintenance and repairs. So I live in an apartment. I want to buy a home in like 6 months, start looking for a home in like 6 months. So I don't really have to worry about maintenance and repairs. So that's one thing that you will have to worry about when you do get a home. Not saying that you're gonna have to pay, you have to pay for maintenance and repairs right when you move in. It's just gonna be a thing that down the line and throughout your home ownership. So you have to think about that. Can I afford to pay a little extra money out of pocket for maintenance if it needs to be? But that's not always the case. It's just have that emergency fund kind of. Other stuff you should expect when you buy a home is, now I know some apartments come furnished. You're gonna have to buy, most of the time you're gonna have to buy a bunch of furniture. Most of the time you're gonna have to buy a washer and dryer. A lot of apartments, they'll have that, which mine does. So you might have to buy that if the seller doesn't leave theirs. Other little stuff that you don't really think of, you have to really think about, what do I use every day around the house? You're gonna have to get that. I know that's a silly statement, but you never really know. I always forget stuff. Like when I first moved into my first apartment, I didn't even buy salt and pepper. It just something that was always in the house that I just thought would magically appear, but no. And then another thing is, how long do you plan on staying in that area or maybe that house? So if you're thinking of staying more than 5 years, then you should be good. But if you're not really thinking of staying 5 years, then maybe buying a house isn't the best decision. But another thing that you could do is, for example, I don't know if I'm going to be staying in the house that I plan on buying in about 8 months for 5 years. So I think my goal is to really find an area that's going to be good for rentals, so then I could hold on to that property and rent it out whenever I move out. That's a really good option. You just have to keep up to date with that area and see, is it a good area to invest in? Buying a home is an investment, and it's a really good investment too. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. So if you didn't plan on staying for 5 years, but you still wanted to buy a home, then look in good rental areas. That's what I would prefer. Another thing is, like, do you have kids or do you plan on having kids in, I don't know, 3-4 years? You're gonna have to think about that. Do you have a dog? Do you want a big yard that's fenced in? I mean, you could fence in your own yard, but you think about that. because if you do have kids, then you might want to look at school systems, which for me, I don't really plan on having kids in like till like 10 years from now, so I'm not really going to think about the school system. I know a lot of these topics are kind of scary to think about. It's like money, but buying a home is a really good investment, and I'm not trying to scare you away from this. This is just tips that you should know when you are first buying a home. Buying a home, you're going to own it for the rest of your life, hopefully. And if not, you're going to get hopefully you're going to get a lot of equity from it when you sell it in 10 plus years maybe. So yeah, those are some of my few tips for first-time home buyers, and if you have any other questions or comments, please place them below. And yeah, you can subscribe and like this if you like it. Let me know what else I should do. Just wanted to pop on here and say thank you for watching my YouTube video. It was my first one. Hopefully I get better at it. So yeah, just thank you for watching. Bye.